In a small, humble village nestled at the edge of rolling green hills, far removed from the bustling cities and modern luxuries of the world, there lived a young boy named Sam. While the village may have lacked material riches, it possessed a wealth of values that were more precious than gold: honesty, kindness, and an unwavering commitment to keeping promises. Sam was a bright and diligent young lad, known throughout the village for his unwavering integrity. His family, like many in the village, lived a simple life, relying on the land to provide for their modest needs. Despite their limited resources, Sam's parents had instilled in him the importance of compassion and honesty, values that would later shape the course of his life in profound ways. One sunny morning, as the golden rays of the sun painted the sky in hues of orange and pink, Sam set out on a journey that would forever change the trajectory of his life. As he strolled through the village's cobblestone streets, a chance encounter would set in motion a chain of events that would reveal the incredible power of kindness, promises, and the enduring impact they can have on the human spirit. In the heart of the village, Sam came across a sight that would forever be etched in his memory: a frail, elderly man seated on a weathered wooden bench. The man's wrinkled face bore the marks of countless hardships, and his eyes spoke of a life filled with trials and tribulations. Hunger had left its cruel mark on him, and he looked like he hadn't had a proper meal in days. Yet, in spite of his circumstances, a glimmer of dignity shone in his eyes. Approaching the elderly man with a warm and caring smile, Sam couldn't simply walk past and ignore the obvious distress before him. His heart was touched, and his compassion overflowed. In a world where many would have simply looked away, Sam extended a hand of friendship and offered solace. "Sir," Sam began, "are you hungry? Would you like some food?" The old man's eyes glistened with gratitude as he replied, "I haven't eaten in days, young man. Anything would be a blessing." Without a moment's hesitation, Sam shared his meager lunch with the elderly stranger, and they sat together, breaking bread and sharing stories. The old man's name, he revealed, was Mr. Jenkins, and he had fallen on hard times due to a series of unfortunate events that had battered his life like an unrelenting storm. As the sun dipped below the horizon and the day turned to evening, Mr. Jenkins looked deeply into Sam's eyes and made a solemn promise: "You, young man, have a kind heart. I promise that one day, I will repay your kindness in ways you can't even begin to imagine." Little did Sam know that these words would be the opening notes of a profound and remarkable story, a story that would take him on a journey through trials and tribulations, revealing the true meaning of promises and the power of kindness in the most unexpected of ways.
Chapter 1: The Promise. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, the memory of that chance encounter between Sam and Mr. Jenkins remained vivid in the young man's mind. While life in the village continued much as it always had, the promise made by the elderly stranger stayed with Sam, like a whisper in the wind, a quiet reminder of the profound potential held within a single act of kindness. Sam's life, marked by simplicity and hard work, continued on its predictable course. He toiled on his family's small farm, tilling the earth, planting seeds, and harvesting the crops that sustained them. The village was not an affluent one, and most families, including Sam's, struggled to make ends meet. But in the face of adversity, Sam's unwavering commitment to his values remained unshaken. The villagers had long known Sam for his kindness and honesty. In a world where trust was a rare gem, Sam's word was as good as gold, and his integrity was a beacon of hope in a sometimes dark and treacherous world. His family had instilled in him the importance of keeping promises, an ethos that was deeply rooted in the values of their close-knit community. With each passing day, Sam's promise to Mr. Jenkins served as a constant reminder of the interconnectedness of human lives and the significance of the commitments we make to one another. The bond forged between the young man and the elderly stranger on that fateful day was a testament to the enduring power of compassion and empathy. It was a sunny morning much like the one when they first met, when another challenge presented itself to Sam's family and the entire village. A prolonged and devastating drought descended upon the land, casting a pall of despair over the once lush fields. Crops withered, water sources ran dry, and food became scarce. The people of the village, including Sam's family, began to feel the pangs of hunger gnawing at their stomachs. Sam, true to his character, continued to share whatever he had with those in need. He and his family tightened their belts, their sacrifices reflecting the unity and solidarity that bound the villagers together. Yet, despite their resilience, the drought's unrelenting grip took its toll on the village's already precarious existence. As the villagers gathered to discuss their dire situation, the weight of their predicament hung heavily in the air. Desperation had cast a shadow over their lives, and the fear of hunger had crept into every heart. But, just when hope seemed lost, a ray of light pierced the gloom, illuminating a path towards salvation that no one could have foreseen. A group of strangers arrived in the village, a band of wealthy merchants seeking respite during their journey. The villagers watched with curiosity as the well-dressed and well-fed travelers made their way into the heart of the village. Among them, to Sam's astonishment, was the same elderly man he had once helped, Mr. Jenkins. In the next chapter, the unexpected arrival of Mr. Jenkins and the merchants would herald a transformation that would leave a lasting mark on the village and reveal the true power of keeping promises.
Chapter 2: The Struggle. The arrival of the wealthy merchants led by Mr. Jenkins brought with it a glimmer of hope to the drought-stricken village. For Sam, it was a moment of profound realization that the promise made by the elderly stranger all those years ago was not just a fleeting declaration of gratitude, but a profound commitment that had, against all odds, come to fruition. As the villagers gathered around, their faces reflecting a mixture of curiosity and trepidation, Mr. Jenkins stepped forward. He began to speak, his voice carrying the weight of the gratitude he held in his heart. With an earnest tone, he recounted the story of his encounter with Sam, the young man who had offered him food and kindness in a time of desperate need. "The young man you see before you," Mr. Jenkins said, gesturing to Sam, "is a living embodiment of kindness and generosity. He extended his hand to me when I had nothing, offering food and compassion. His act of kindness was a lifeline when I was drowning in despair, and I promised him that one day, I would repay his kindness in ways he could not imagine." The villagers listened in rapt attention, their faces transforming from uncertainty to anticipation. The drought had brought the village to its knees, and they were in dire need of help. With the arrival of these benevolent merchants, it seemed as though the tides of fortune were about to turn. Mr. Jenkins, with the support of the merchants, unveiled their plan to provide relief to the village.
Food, water, and essential resources were distributed to the villagers, alleviating their immediate suffering. The once dreary faces of the community now shone with gratitude, as their spirits were lifted by this unexpected act of kindness. Sam was particularly moved by the turn of events. He had always believed in helping others without expecting anything in return, and the generosity of Mr. Jenkins and the merchants filled him with a mix of gratitude and humility. He couldn't help but feel a sense of inner conflict. Should he accept this help when he had always given freely without thought of recompense? As the villagers received the much-needed aid, a sense of gratitude began to resonate throughout the community. They realized that the promise Mr. Jenkins had made was not merely about repaying a single act of kindness, but about creating a ripple effect of compassion and benevolence that benefited everyone. Sam's story and his unwavering commitment to keeping promises became a beacon of hope, demonstrating the potential for humanity to come together in times of crisis. The drought eventually subsided, thanks to the generosity of Mr. Jenkins and the merchants. The village flourished once again, and the villagers remained united, knowing that promises were not just words but a binding commitment to make the world a better place. In the next chapter, Sam's journey would take a new direction as he learned valuable lessons about kindness, promises, and the profound impact of accepting help from others.
Chapter 3: The Unexpected Arrival. With the village's fortune transformed by the unexpected generosity of Mr. Jenkins and the traveling merchants, a newfound sense of hope permeated the community. The once barren fields now teemed with life as crops flourished, and the villagers regained their strength and spirit. It was as if the village had been reborn, and the memory of the devastating drought began to fade, leaving behind a legacy of compassion, unity, and the enduring power of promises. Sam continued to work diligently on his family's farm, but he couldn't escape the lingering questions in his mind. He had always believed in helping others without expecting anything in return, yet the events that had unfolded challenged his long-held convictions. Was it possible that accepting help could be an act of kindness in itself? Could keeping a promise involve more than just the initial act of kindness, but also the opportunity to inspire and be inspired by others? One day, as the sun bathed the village in its golden glow, an unexpected commotion stirred the quiet streets. A group of travelers was approaching the village, and their arrival brought both curiosity and anticipation. As the villagers gathered to witness the strangers' arrival, Sam's heart quickened with recognition. Among the travelers, his eyes fell upon the familiar face of Mr. Jenkins. The elderly man, who had once been destitute and in need of help, now appeared prosperous and confident. He wore fine garments and had a presence that spoke of a life well lived. Mr. Jenkins had not forgotten the promise he made to Sam. The transformation of the village had deeply impacted him, and he saw the opportunity to fulfill his commitment to repay Sam's kindness in a manner that would transcend the boundaries of a single act of goodwill. Sam watched in astonishment as Mr. Jenkins stepped forward, his voice filled with sincerity. "My friends," he began, addressing the villagers and the travelers, "allow me to share a story with you. A story of a young man named Sam, who, in the darkest of times, extended a helping hand to a stranger. His act of kindness changed not only my life, but the lives of everyone here." It ignited a chain of compassion and generosity that is a testament to the goodness that resides in the hearts of ordinary people. The travelers, who had accompanied Mr. Jenkins to the village, were deeply moved by his words and the remarkable story of Sam's unwavering kindness. They too were inspired to make a difference, to repay the kindness they had witnessed and experienced. With an air of reverence, Mr. Jenkins revealed their collective plan. The group of travelers, now determined to carry forward the spirit of generosity, offered their assistance to the village. They pledged to support the community in various ways, whether through resources, knowledge, or guidance. As the villagers and Sam looked upon this unexpected turn of events, they came to understand that the promise made by Mr. Jenkins was not just about repaying a single act of kindness. It was a promise to inspire a chain reaction of goodwill, to create a cycle of compassion that benefited not only the recipients of kindness but also the givers. Sam, in particular, began to grasp the profound truth in Mr. Jenkins' words. Keeping a promise was not merely about settling a debt, it was about nurturing a cycle of kindness that had the potential to reach far beyond the initial act. By accepting the help of others, Sam realized that he had given them the opportunity to do something good and had inspired them to continue helping those in need. The unexpected arrival of Mr. Jenkins and the travelers had deepened the lesson that Sam had learned on that fateful day when he first met the elderly stranger, the power of promises, kindness, and the incredible impact they could have on the human spirit. The village, with its newfound prosperity and shared sense of purpose, was on the cusp of a transformation that would continue to resonate through the chapters of this remarkable tale.
Chapter 4: Mr. Jenkins' Generosity. With the unexpected arrival of Mr. Jenkins and the benevolent group of travelers, the village found itself on the cusp of a transformation that would forever redefine its sense of community and the power of keeping promises. Mr. Jenkins, who had once been in need of help himself, had returned to fulfill a pledge that went beyond simple repayment. It aimed to inspire an enduring legacy of compassion. Under Mr. Jenkins' guidance, the merchants immediately set to work, driven by a sense of purpose and inspired by the extraordinary story of Sam's kindness. The once drought-stricken village began to experience a wave of generosity, the likes of which it had never seen before. The merchants, who had known prosperity and success, shared their knowledge and resources with the villagers. They taught advanced farming techniques, irrigation methods, and ways to preserve and store food effectively. The community, once struggling to survive, began to thrive with the newfound knowledge and tools at their disposal. The transformation of the village was nothing short of remarkable. The fields, once barren, now bore bountiful crops that stretched as far as the eye could see. The villagers had access to clean water, which was no longer a scarce commodity. The people were no longer haunted by the specter of hunger, as their bellies were now filled with nourishing meals. But it was not just the tangible gifts that made the villagers truly grateful. It was the spirit of generosity and the sense of hope that permeated their lives. The merchants and Mr. Jenkins had instilled in them the belief that they, too, could create a better future, that kindness and unity could overcome even the harshest of challenges. Sam, in particular, was deeply moved by the events unfolding around him. He had always believed in helping others out of genuine care and compassion, without seeking anything in return. He had given freely and expected no recompense. Yet, the generosity of Mr. Jenkins and the traveling merchants challenged his beliefs. In quiet moments, Sam pondered the moral complexities of accepting help. He questioned whether it diminished the purity of his previous acts of kindness, and whether it was acceptable to receive when he had always been the giver. However, as he observed the positive changes taking place in the village and the sense of empowerment that had ignited in his fellow villagers, he came to understand that keeping promises and accepting assistance were not just about settling a debt. He realized that allowing others to help was also a way of spreading hope and love throughout the world. The promise Mr. Jenkins had made was not only about repaying a kindness, but about creating a cycle of goodness that benefited everyone involved. It was about inspiring others to give and to keep the flame of compassion alive. As the chapter came to a close, the village was a testament to the transformative power of generosity. The once struggling community had become a thriving and tightly knit group of individuals who understood that promises were not just words, they were commitments to making the world a better place. The impact of Mr. Jenkins' generosity was felt far and wide, and it marked the beginning of a remarkable journey of discovery for Sam and the entire village.
Chapter 5: The Payback. The village, once desolate and struggling, now stood as a shining example of what collective kindness and unity could achieve. The generosity of Mr. Jenkins and the traveling merchants had not only alleviated the villagers' suffering but had also rekindled their hope and determination. It was a place where the promise of a better future seemed attainable, thanks to the enduring power of promises and the transformative effects of kindness. Sam, the humble and kind-hearted young man who had been at the center of this remarkable story, had learned profound lessons about the significance of keeping promises. He had always believed in helping others without expecting anything in return, and that belief remained at the core of his character. But the events that had unfolded challenged his perspective and introduced him to new layers of understanding. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, the village continued to flourish. The fertile fields yielded abundant harvests, and the once empty storehouses were now brimming with supplies. The villagers no longer faced the cruel specter of hunger, and the once constant fear of scarcity had been replaced by a newfound sense of security and abundance. Yet, for Sam, there was an inner conflict that he couldn't ignore. He had accepted help from Mr. Jenkins and the merchants, despite his ingrained belief in offering assistance without expecting anything in return. It was as if the balance of giving and receiving had shifted, and he questioned whether he had compromised the purity of his previous acts of kindness. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the village basked in the gentle twilight, Mr. Jenkins found Sam in the quiet outskirts of the village. With a kind smile, the elderly man joined him and began to speak in a voice that held the wisdom of experience. "Sam," he said, "I hope you understand that keeping a promise is not just about repaying a favor. It's about creating a cycle of kindness that benefits everyone. By accepting our help, you've given us the opportunity to do something good, and you've inspired us to continue helping others in need." Mr. Jenkins' words struck a chord within Sam. He realized that promises were not just about settling debts but about fostering a sense of interconnectedness among people. In allowing others to repay his kindness, he had ignited a chain reaction of goodwill, creating a cycle that benefited not only the recipients but also the givers. Sam's inner conflict began to dissipate as he understood that his actions had inspired others to offer assistance to those in need. By accepting help, he had not diminished the purity of his kindness but had broadened its impact. He had played a crucial role in kindling the flames of compassion, unity, and generosity within the hearts of his fellow villagers and the traveling merchants. The village, once a place of hardship and despair, had become a beacon of hope and transformation. The promise made by Mr. Jenkins and the subsequent generosity of the traveling merchants had not only changed the lives of the villagers but had also opened their eyes to the incredible potential that lay within the act of keeping promises. As this chapter came to an end, Sam and the village understood that keeping promises was a profound commitment to making the world a better place, not only through individual acts of kindness but by inspiring a collective spirit of benevolence that had the power to shape the future of their community and beyond.
Chapter 6: A Lesson in Kindness. The village had undergone a profound transformation since the arrival of Mr. Jenkins and the benevolent group of merchants. The once struggling community now thrived, thanks to the enduring power of promises and the generosity of those who had been touched by the spirit of compassion and unity. For Sam, the journey had been one of self-discovery and the evolution of his understanding of kindness and promises. He had always believed in helping others without expecting anything in return, a belief instilled in him by his family and his community. Yet, the events that had unfolded challenged his perspective. As the village flourished and the villagers reaped the rewards of their hard work, Sam continued to reflect on the lessons he had learned. He understood that accepting help from others did not diminish the purity of his kindness, instead, it multiplied the impact of his actions. By allowing others to repay his kindness, he had inspired a chain reaction of goodwill that benefited not only the recipients but also the givers. The village remained a living testament to the transformative power of kindness and promises. The once barren fields now bore bountiful crops, the water sources flowed abundantly, and the fear of scarcity had been replaced by a sense of security and abundance. The villagers, united by their shared experiences, understood that promises were not just words but a commitment to making the world a better place. One evening, as the village gathered to celebrate the harvest, Sam stood before his fellow villagers, a symbol of the lessons they had collectively learned. He spoke of the journey they had embarked upon, one that had been filled with challenges, revelations, and a deeper understanding of the true meaning of promises and kindness. Promises are not merely words, Sam began, but a commitment to creating a better world, one act of kindness at a time. What we have experienced here is a testament to the incredible power of compassion and unity. By accepting help from others, we have not only received their kindness, but we have also inspired a chain reaction of goodwill that has transformed our lives and the lives of those around us. His words resonated with the villagers, for they had all played a part in this remarkable story. They had witnessed the village's transformation from a place of hardship and despair into a beacon of hope and resilience. The promise made by Mr. Jenkins, the acceptance of help, and the cycle of generosity that had been ignited were all reminders that keeping promises was a profound commitment to making the world a better place. The lessons learned in that small village were not confined to its borders. The spirit of kindness and the power of promises had the potential to ripple out and touch the lives of countless others. The villagers understood that, in a world often marked by uncertainty and division, the simple acts of kindness and the commitments to keep promises could be the driving forces behind positive change. As the chapter came to a close, the village celebrated not only the abundant harvest, but also the abundant spirit of compassion and unity that had bloomed within their hearts. Their story served as a timeless reminder that kindness and promises had the power to transform not only individuals but also entire communities, creating a better, more hopeful world for all.
Epilogue: The Legacy of Sam and Mr. Jenkins. The village, once a place marked by hardship and struggle, continued to thrive in the wake of the extraordinary events that had unfolded. The fields that were once barren now provided an abundance of crops, the water sources flowed with life-sustaining sustenance, and the people had come to understand the true meaning of promises and kindness. The memory of Sam and Mr. Jenkins remained etched in the hearts and minds of the villagers. Their story was retold time and time again, a living testament to the transformative power of compassion and the enduring impact of keeping promises. The villagers recognized that promises were not mere words, but a solemn commitment to making the world a better place, one act of kindness at a time. As the seasons changed and years passed, the lessons learned within the village extended beyond its borders. The villagers shared their stories with neighboring communities, spreading the message of unity and the power of promises. Acts of kindness, once considered fleeting and insignificant, had become a way of life, inspiring a ripple effect that reached far and wide. Sam, the young man whose unwavering kindness had set this incredible chain of events in motion, remained a symbol of honesty and compassion. His life served as a beacon of hope for all, a testament to the idea that even the simplest of acts could ignite profound transformations. Mr. Jenkins, the elderly stranger who had once been in need of assistance, had found success in fulfilling his promise. The experience had opened his heart to the boundless potential of giving and receiving, a lesson he carried with him as he continued to spread goodwill throughout his journeys. The village itself had become a model of resilience, a place where the principles of kindness and promises were woven into the fabric of daily life. The community thrived, not only because of the tangible help it had received, but because of the shared understanding that their future was interconnected, and that by helping each other, they were building a brighter world for all. In a world often marked by uncertainty and division, the village remained a testament to the enduring values of honesty, kindness, and the power of keeping promises. Its story served as a reminder that each of us had the ability to create positive change and that, by acting with compassion and embracing the commitments we make, we could indeed make the world a better place. And so, the legacy of Sam and Mr. Jenkins continued to inspire generations to come, reminding them that the power of promises and kindness could shape the course of their lives and the world around them, and that the commitment to making a difference was a promise worth keeping.